Each week, I hope this podcast gives you a boost, empowers you to be your best self. And I was so drawn to working with Mighty Meals. Their mission starts with empowering you to live healthier lives. I love that Mighty Meals is a convenient, healthy meal delivery service made with locally sourced ingredients by chefs. If you're in the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, for those outside the DMV, then head to eatmightymeals.com/yourgoodnews for a special offer of $25 off for purchases of $75 or more. And don't worry, if you're outside of the DMV, they are expanding soon. Hi, and welcome to the Your Good News podcast with me, your host, Katherine Getty. Each Thursday, I'll give you the scoop on the good news coming out of Washington and how you can get involved with this thing called democracy. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Good News podcast. If you're listening in real time, it is September 22nd, 2022, and that means that the fiscal year is nearly over. Fiscal year 2022, which began October 1 of last year, ending September 30th of this year, is nearly over. Why is that date important to Congress, you may ask? That is how we typically fund, is on a fiscal year basis. And as of today, as of when we are recording, as of when this is going out, there has still not been text for a funding for the next fiscal year, which means that the government could go into a shutdown on October 1. Will that happen? It's unlikely. It is an election year. What is more likely to happen is a continuing resolution, which is a funding mechanism that will allow them to keep funding levels at a level basis for a period of time. So typically it goes for a 3-month or 2-month or a short-term basis. My guess, given it is an election year, like I said earlier, is that it'll go to sometime in December, likely right before Christmas, because it always pushes members to get something done. It'll be interesting to see kind of what happens because there are a lot of must-pass items the government needs to deal with before September 30th. But we will see. It is your guess is as good as mine. All right, to the heart of the episode. Today's topic is volunteering on a campaign. If this is your first time here, welcome. Listeners who have heard this story, forgive me for a bit of a refresher. I'm a self-described political nerd. Growing up, I actually begged to watch West Wing and loved nothing more than hearing my parents, who on opposite sides of the political spheres, lovingly sparred over insert issue of the day. I grew up in a house that watched the election results till far too late into the night. And heck, I even got my parents in trouble with the HOA for making a political sign that I placed in my bedroom window for the air quote whole world to see. As a 10-year-old, I really thought I was making my voice be heard. Are you starting to see the picture? I love campaigns. And for all the bad things about campaigns, which as someone who has worked in politics can argue is quite a lot, heck, any American could recognize it. But a campaign to me also is a sign of hope. It's a sign of a new idea, a new beginning. And isn't that something special? Maybe it's brand new and scary. Maybe the candidate has a refreshing take on a perennial problem. There's something really hopeful about campaigns. And now that I have you jazzed on the idea of campaigns, let's talk about the idea of volunteering. For today's lesson, let's focus on congressional races, House and Senate. Given that the midterm is creeping up on November 8th, it's more prescient, more helpful in this moment. Plus, they're the campaigns I have the most experience with, and I want to shoot it to you straight. First, find your candidate and ensure you have thoroughly read through your candidate's bio, their ideas, their issues they're most passionate about. Is this person running for office for the first time or a seasoned member of the House? Do your homework. And to do your homework, head to Google. Start finding their website, their campaign website. Find their personal Twitter. See if they have a campaign Facebook. Start to understand a little bit more what issues they put front and center. Do you align with these? Do you believe in these? Are these things that you think are the best for your district, for your state? You can tell a lot off of all of these things. Second, once you've decided on the candidate that you want to support, that you want to get involved with, there are a bunch of different roles on campaigns. So let's find the role that works for you. Do you like to make calls? Maybe phone banking, as it's called, is for you. Maybe you like to knock on doors and engage with voters. Maybe a door-to-door activity is more up your alley. Or do you have a specialized skill? Can you help with graphic design for the website? Can you help with debate prep? Once you find the role, ask for more information. Reach back out to the campaign that you've already Googled. There's definitely an email, a phone number. Reach out and say, I'd love to campaign. I'd love to help out. These are some things that I'm really good at. I'm interested in this, but how can I be most helpful? Understanding the roles is important, but also being flexible. Campaigns are often on a shoestring budget. They don't have a lot of people. And so, depending on the size of the race, you may be filling in a role that's pretty big, but be willing to be helpful. Why is it important to volunteer? Why is it important to ask these questions and be flexible? Because you're getting more involved with the process. You're learning from inside of the campaign how dollars are spent, how ads are made, and most importantly, what issues are rising to the top when you talk with constituents. What are the issues that your fellow insert state, insert district are finding the most problems with, or most excited about, or most hopeful for? Those are things that you can continue to work on at the next election. And finally, enjoy it. There are going to be long nights, pizza parties, times when people get probably too caffeinated, but it's really fun to be involved with it. Like I said, you're getting to learn from the inside out how our political system works. How do you get that member of Congress elected? How do you get that senator elected? It can be really exciting, but on the flip side, your candidate may lose and you may get to do this again. And you may learn tips and tricks for that next campaign that you can bring as a volunteer. Volunteers are always something campaigns are looking for. It is a great way to get involved. It is a great way for you to let your voice be heard and be a part of the process. And that's it. Thank you again for joining today's episode of the Your Good News podcast. I hope this little primer on volunteering on a campaign has helped you. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe so that weekly an episode will be here where you stream podcasts. Help us out and leave a review and share with someone you know. Also, reach out to me. I'm on Instagram at Katherine Getty, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this episode or what you'd like to hear more of. And as always, tune in next week for another episode of the Your Good News podcast.